Hi everyone. In the previous video we saw how to download a PyCharm and how to do setup for Python. In this video we will gonna cover Python basic. We will see about variables, data types, comments, a lot more. So without much delay, let's get into this. So guys, first of all I want to show you some basic print statements, comments in Python. So let's get that. Let's create a new file and I want to name it that L2 lecture 2. So yes, I hope this much will be visible to you. Let's see first of all some basic statements. Basic statement. So guys, as you know that I have write this thing, so it is not of any use in my code. So how you can comment that? We'll see. We can comment simply by putting has in front of it. If you put has, that line would be considered as a comment. So if I delete has, you can see that it become uncomment. So I have to put has in front of it, right? So now you come to know that comment about what is comment. Comment basically we have to use for making our code efficient and easy understandable. So like I can see that this is not of use any use, so let me comment it again. This one line I'll simply put hash in front of it. Yeah, now let's see some basic print statements in Python. If you want to show something to the user, or if you want to print something, then you have to use a function which is print. This is a function. Inside of this, if you will write anything, let's say I write 342, so what it will do, it will print 342 into my screens. Let's run this and you can guys see that 342 has been printed on my output screen, right? So if I want to print anything, let's say CodeRapt, what it will do, it will also print on my screen CodeRapt. You can see that. I hope you are getting it. Now we have done this much. I hope this one is clear, that if we want to print something on the screen, then we have to use a print function, and if you want to do a comment for a line, then you have to use a single hash in front of the content which you want to comment, right? This much is clear, and this was such basic things you must know before write code. Okay, so in PyCharm, do you have a shortcut to comment or uncomment a line? You can simply press Ctrl and forward slash. It will also do the same. Great. Now let's move to variables and data types. First of all, we will cover variable. And first, before moving ahead to code, let's understand what is actually variable in coding. So guys, here we are seeing that what is the variable in Python. Don't see this in image. First let's understand in a deep what is a variable. Guys, you know that our machine store a data whatever we write on on this computer by keyboard or by mouse. Everything it is stored in a memory, but you don't know that where it's stored and what the actual data is, right? But let's say I want to store my data 4 5 6 7 8, this much number. Maybe this may be any roll number, or maybe this is amount, or maybe it can be anything, right? But I want to store that data in my program. I want to say that store that data in a program. What you will do, you may write the code, any code which will store it, but what happen if you have to use this data again in your code? Then you have to again remember that one. The next time if you write it, then again you will do the same. You will say that yeah, data was this and I have to use that data in this line again. No, what you will do, you will make a variable. You will say that this is a money, and money is my 445,678. This is my money, and I want to store that money in my memory with a reference money. Now what it will do, whenever you have to store in further in your line of code, you will not need to remember all this data. You will say that just print my money, print my money. It will do the same work. It will print your data. Basically, we use variable to store to get a reference of our data. This is our data. This is our data, and this is our money. Or we can say variable. So variable are basically used to store a data. I hope now you get it, that for storing a data we need a variable. And in Python there is no rule to declare a variable. You have to directly initialize your variable. Whenever you will write this statement, your money variable will automatically initialize and your data will store in that variable. Now you can use your money variable in any line of code. But before it will not, your code compile interpreter will not understand what is money. You can use money after when you initialize it. Okay, now let's understand this example. Now here you can see the name is storing xyz. It is a string, or we will see it later, but for now just understand that this is a data type. This is data we want to store, and that storing is name, and here is 20. So 20 stored in aged variables, and here is a male is stored in gender variables. So now all these three things are our variable, and these all three things are our data. Fine. So now I hope you got an idea. So now if you want to, I will say that I want a name. So what I will do, I will write a simple name and it will show us a data, what was the name of that person. If you want to say I want to get an age of a person, of this person, so I will simply write age. It will print me the same age which we have already inserted in it. The same happen with gender. It will show us a gender, right? So I hope you got an idea that how the variable work in a Python. So let's see more in a code, then you will have a definitely clear idea about the variables. So let's move to Python. Now guys, here we are going to cover up variables. So guys, let's say I have 45. So now this is my data and I want to store in our computer. So what I will do, I will write simply any number. Let's say I write a x. So what it will do, our 45 data has been stored in x variable. Now in next line, I don't need to say that print 45, whatever the data he has entered. I will say x, print x. It will just print me, let's run this code. It will just print me 45, right? Because now see, if user has entered this much data, now will you remember this much data after 10 line of codes? No, you just have to print x again. It will definitely print all this data. So basically our x is a variable and this much is the data, and variable is storing our data and we are printing that variable. That's the purpose of variables. Variable is used to store a data. This much is clear. So I hope you got an idea what is variables. Now let's move to the next thing. Let's move to the data types in Python. So guys, before that I have forgot to mention this slide that there's some rules. If you want to initialize any variables, there's some rules. Let's say this is your variable 45, 46 and you are giving a variable name x. You can't give any name as a variables. These are rules. You can't start your name with integer, your variable name with integer. You can't start. You have to start either with an alphabet or with an underscore. Now you can do anything, but the name must be start from either underscore or any alphabet character. You can't start with 1, 2, or you can't start with underscore a special character any. You have to start either with alphabets or any underscore characters. That much clear. I hope you got an idea now. If someone will say you that whether this is correct or not, so you can directly say that no, this one is wrong because you have used a special character except underscore, so we can't assign that data into this variable. So I hope now you got an idea what are the rules. These two rules which here is written. These two rules I have just explained you. Now let's move to the other topic, data types in Python. So guys, data types in Python, there are 7 types of data types: numerical, string, list, tuple, set, dictionary, and range. But in this video we will just gonna cover these two, one numerical and string, because we are here to cover basic of Python first. And for covering this all 5 data types, this to range, we need some knowledge of conditions, statements. I hope you are getting that. We are not here at that much level to cover all these data types. So first of all we will cover this too much, and then we will learn some other topics. Then we will come back to this all 5 data types. Definitely we will do, don't worry about that. Okay, so let's understand what is a numerical data type. Let's open this PyCharm, and now we are going to cover numerical data type. Now guys, numerical, the name suggests that which has a number. So now you have seen already that in numerical we have first of all number, we call it as integers, then we have float, then we have our complex, and then we have our boolean data type. Now guys, you know that these are 4 data types come under the numerical. So numerical is the one which is major type of Python data types. In numerical also we have 4 type of data types, which is integer, float, complex, and boolean. Now integer means the number which doesn't have a decimal point, like 34, it doesn't have a decimal point. So you can say 34, you can say 56, any number. Alright, so it is an integer. Float basically means the number which have a decimal point, like 23.4, it has one decimal point, so it means it is a float data types. You can say 23.0, that is also float, because you have used a decimal point here. Now let's see complex. I know guys, you have learned the complex number in your math classes, which is basically where you have used some iota imaginary numbers. So same happen in Python. Here let's say you have run 2 plus 3 iota, but you can't write iota because iota is not symbol in a keyboard, so you can use a j instead of that. Now this is your complex. I hope you got an idea. This is your complex number. Now what are booleans? Boolean, basically there are 2 booleans only, true and false. True means the thing is correct, and false is the thing is not correct, the statement is false, right? So don't worry about that if you didn't get any single idea what I taught just now. Don't worry, I just gave an overview. Let's learn in deeply. So I'm going to tell you first of all integer. Before that, let's comment this. I told you for comment, either you can put in a single has in front of every statement, or you can simply select everything and press Ctrl// in your keyboard. This will work same, right? This is so shortcut. I hope you know that. So now let's understand first what is an integer. So guys, I'm saying that you have this number and it doesn't have a decimal, or it does not include any point, right? So if you want to initialize this data into some variables, so what you will do, you will write simply value equal to this, right? Now I told you that this is an integer data type, and you have understand that this is an integer data type, but how to show that this is an integer data type, how to print that? For that we have a function. There is a function type function, which basically means that return the data type of variable. Which variable is this? It is storing integer, so the data type of this value would be written by this type function. So let's see, I'm saying that print type of value. Before that I have to comment this line because it is against the syntax. So let's run this code now. You can see that guys, it is a int. Int means integer. It is an integer data type. I hope now you get it. What did I basically did here, that this type, this thing will just, these simple things will return me a type, and that type I used in print statement to print. I can also do that data type, whatever it will return, that goes in data type, and that thing I want to print it, right? I just did little shortcuts, and in the now onwards I will just use a simple shortcut. I will not do this. First of all, I will write this and I will use that data type into my print statement. I will directly put this type inside the print statement, right? Now guys, I hope you got an idea what is an integers. Now let's move to the other thing, which is float. The same example I would take, but just the little change I will do is I will put a decimal here and see the what difference come. Here it was class int. Just notice it. Let me first of all comment this one and comment this all lines too. Now let's run this. You can see that it changed from int to float, right? Just because I have used a decimal here in front of 32. So that's what I was saying. If you use any decimal point here between the integer, that will become your float. I hope you got an idea what is float. Now let's comment this one too. Now let's move to the complex one. Complex. So guys, in complex I told you that we have an imaginary value. In math class you have write this 3 plus 4 iota, and you have done something else related to that steps, right? So that's value. If you want to store in Python, you can do that. You have to just use here, first of all I am writing value is equal to, I am using 3 plus 4 iota. Now you can see that this is an error. You can't use iota because you don't have any symbol iota in your keyboard. So you can say instead of iota j. What it will do, it will store that value in your program. Now if you want to print your value, so it will show you directly. You can see that. Let me comment first of all complex. So now you can see that it will directly show you 3 plus 4 j. J means iota, remember. And if you want to see the type of this, you can see that type of value. It will show you here. You can see that complex. That means now in the starting I saw int because we have used integer. Then we saw float because we use a float. After that I have used complex, so it will printing us a complex. It is a complex data type. I hope you got an idea. Now guys, let's move to the last one, which is boolean. Now focus here. Boolean means either true or false. I hope you got an idea, either true or false. Now basically true can also be present in 1, false can also be present in 0. It has two value only, true or false, and true can also be represented as 1 and false can also be present as a 0. Remember, like, let me tell you example. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Is that true or not? And guys, here I've used is equal to 2 times just because for comparison we can't use single equal to. We have to use a double equal to. Right? So is 2 plus 3 equal to 5? Yes. So what it should print? It should print true. Okay. And is 5 cross 2 is equal to 10? Yes, that means also true. But is it 3 minus 1 equal to 3? No, you know that 3 minus 1 equal to 3 is not. This is a false. Is 2 cross 2 is equal to 5? No, this one is also not. This one is also false. Let's write false. We know, we have a mind, but how to present all these things to the user on the print statement? Let's see. We assign this data to a variable, name as A, and assign it as B, and I assign it as D, and the fourth statement I will assign as D. Now these all things, let's comment this. Let's comment this one too. Let's comment this one too. Let's comment this one too. I hope now you get an idea how to comment all these things. I just write hash in front of this, and the statement after this line would be considered as a comment. It will not gonna go in an interpreter. Okay, so yeah, I have to put a double equal to here. So now let's see what is the value we have. Print A, print B, print C, and print D. Now let's run this code and see what the value we are getting. Okay, this line I haven't commented. Let me comment this one. Now let's run this code. You can see that the first line is true, second line is also true, but third and fourth line is false because we have already know that 3 minus 1 is equal to 2, not false. So not 3. So 3 minus 1 is equal to 2, and 2 cross 2 is equal to 4. Multiply 2 with the 2, then we will get a 4 answer. That's basic. So now let's run this and we will get all the truths. I hope now you get an idea that what is a Boolean data types, and with this we have completed our numerical data types. And inside this we have learned integer, then float, then complex, then Boolean. I hope you have understood all the points. If you still have doubt, you can ask in the comment section. If you got all these four, then definitely put a comment that yeah, we understand numerical data type. So let me uncomment all these things. Now we will move ahead for a string, which is our second data types. Now move to head strings. A string data type. We are going to cover string data types. So basically, what is a string? Let me tell you. Let's say this is a number. Now you guys know that you can store any number in any of these types. You can store your number in float also. You can store your number in integer also. But about if you want to store your character? Let's say I write a code wrapped. What about this? Would you be able to store this is an integer type? No, you can't store that is an integer because integer is a number. Can you store this type in a float? No, you can't store that also in float because float is also a number with a decimal. So I hope now you got an idea that for storing that we have to use a string. So for storing that type, I will put double question mark front at the end of this word, right? If I put double quote marks in the front at the end of this word, it will act as a string now. If I write let's say name is equal to this, so now what will happen? Now this name will be stored in this data, but the data is a string data type. So if I want to print that what is the data type of this data, so I will use a type function, and inside of type I will give my variable which is name. Now I will run this code and I will see that this is in str means string data type. Now CodeRapt is in string data type. Just how it happen? I just use double quote and front at the end of this, right? I hope you got an idea. If you want to make a string, then you have to use a double question marks at the front at the end. If you use a single quote, then also it will work. You can see that if I just use single quote in Python, then also it will act as a string. And let's run this, and I will get the same answer as you can see here. I got same. So I hope you got an idea what is a string, what is a number, what is a float, what is integers, what is a complex, and what is a Boolean data type. I hope you got all those things. Now guys, once it done, I want to tell you something more in the string, right? How to assess any character from string. Now guys, if you want to assess any character from this, then how will you assess it? Let's say I put an exclamation mark at the end of it. If I will run this, then you can see that, oh sorry, I haven't printed yet. For print name, you will see that we are getting the same exact string our CodeRapt. Now if you want to assess, I want to assess only E from the string. I don't want to assess whole name. I'm interested in printing only E. So how will you do that? Let's remember, at every time whenever you write your string and when it start, it use from 0 indexes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, until your length of the string. Your length is 9. You can see you have 9 characters in your string. So the length of the string is 9, and your indexes will goes from 0 to length minus 1. It will goes from 0 to length minus 1. Length is length is 9. You can see 9 characters present. CODERAPT and exclamation marks. So your indexes will goes from 0 to 1, right? So let's say I want to see E. So what I can see that E is at a 3 position. Basically it is on fourth position, but our indexes are starting from 0, so we will say it is on a 3 position because we are going from 0. No, we are not starting from 1. So we are starting from 0, so it E present at 3 position. If I want print, let's say print name, and you have to put a square bracket, and inside of that you have to write just 3. Before running I will comment this line because it is against the syntax. So let's run this. You can see that it print me E, right? These two are print just because of this two print statement, but the last one is print because I have mentioned that inside of name variable, which is this data type, you have to print me a third indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, which is E, right? It is printed. Similarly, if I want to print a P, then you can see that P is at a 6 indexes and 7th location. It has a 6th indexes, so I will just change my 3 to 6. Now if I just comment this line and run this one, now you can see that it has printed P. So I hope you got an idea that how does indexes works in a string. But in Python you don't have only this string, you have one more way to assess the character from a string, right? So there is one more way which is called as a negative index. Let's move to our presentation slides. I hope you will get from that. You can see that I have made same CodeRapt, and I have already taught you that how does this work. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I hope you got an idea how does it work. And this is basically called left to right indexes, which is start from 0 and goes till length of string minus 1, which length of string is 9. So it will goes 9 minus 1, as you can see that 8. But there is also an indexes which start from right to left and which start from not 0, which start from minus 1, and it will the next it will be minus 2 and so on up to it will go till length. The length is 9, so it will go till 9. You have an idea. Now 9 minus 1 was this if we start from 0, but at the end if we start from end, then our indexes will start from minus 1 and it will keep decrementing until the length of the string. Now if I show you, if I want to access E, I use 3 indexes. At the same time I can also use minus 6 also. I'll show you in PyCharm. Let's see. If I use 3 and at the same time if I use print name minus 6, if I run this one, you can see that both will give me same answer because I have used negative indexes as well as positive indexes. So now if I want to access P, I can either give 6 or either I can give minus 3. Either I can give 6, either I can give minus 3. Both will give me a P character. I hope you got an idea how to initialize a string and how to find a particular character from a string using indexes. Indexes also start from left to right and it also start from right to left. So in this video, this is all about I want to discuss. So I hope you love this video. If you like this video and find it helpful, definitely give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. So meet you in next video. Thank you.